You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker Sir. Honorable Speaker Sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament. Honorable Speaker Sir, I am honoured to give my contribution to His Excellency's statement during the opening of 2020-2021 Parliament session on Monday, 30th November 2020. I sincerely commend His Excellency for his most gracious and wise speech. Honourable Speaker Sir, my plea to all honourable members of this August Parliament, let us deliberate and respond to His Excellency's address in good faith, with true spirit of cooperation, courage and patriotism. Let us put our nation first, trust one another in consolidated effort to rebuild our economy as people's livelihoods are at stake. Let us leave our own differences aside during these trying times. Let us hold hands and progress towards a more united and prosperous Fiji. Honourable Speaker Sir, His Excellency, the President noted three priority areas for the next 12 months. Number one, our containment of COVID-19, our economy's recovery, and the third one is our response to the climate, oceans, and biodiversity crisis. Honourable Speaker Sir, let me respond to His Excellency on these areas. Honourable Speaker Sir, first of all, my heartfelt appreciation to the Honourable Prime Minister for his decisive leadership. Our dedicated health officials, workers and discipline forces, doctors, nurses, drivers, and everyone who were directly involved in our shared campaign to contain the COVID-19 virus. You all have worked tirelessly and sacrificed your time and energy for the sake of all Fijian families and our beloved nation, Fiji. I salute your patriotic efforts today. These are unprecedented times, and as a nation, we must act decisively by taking bold steps aimed at recovery of the Fijian economy from the global health crisis. Honourable Speaker Sir, as of today, the Ministry of Agriculture has undertaken some key initiatives to cushion the impact of the pandemic in terms of food and nutrition security. Our aim is to ensure every Fijian family continue to have access to safe, affordable and nutritious food during these challenging times. At the same time, we would like to see that those households most affected by COVID-19 pandemic have the means and support to become more self-reliant. This is to minimize impacts on livelihoods and speed up our response and recovery process. Honourable Speaker Sir, the Ministry delivered strongly on the home gardening initiative in 2020, achieving the highest level of success rate across Fiji. In the wake of the pandemic, the Ministry understood that this event could threaten food security of households due to supply chain disruption, as well as loss of jobs and thus loss of income. Since lockdown, public interest in growing fruit and vegetables at home has soared. Seeds packets were purchased from limited retailers, and number of free allotment to public by Ministry of Agriculture continued to swell. Fear of food shortages would have motivated some, but others with more time on their hand at homes will have been tempted by the chance to relieve stress doing a wholesome family activity and supplement their household income as well as provide food for table. Nevertheless, we achieved an unprecedented level of activity in this area, whereas of last week the Ministry of Agriculture has distributed 50,185 seeds packages to the public directly through the Ministry itself, through corporate organizations, to the employees and through the NGOs. This equates to over 386,000 individual packs of seeds that were given out for free by the Ministry of Agriculture. The seeds of enthusiasm for homegrown food may have been sown, but sustaining this is essential. It could help communities boost the resilience of their fresh fruit and vegetable supplies, improve the health of residents and help them lead more sustainable livelihoods. Honourable Speaker, furthermore, in support of enhancing food and nutrition security for all Fijians, the village nutrition security is also one of the initiatives by the Ministry to ensure that all Fijians have access to food of acceptable quality and nutritional value. To achieve this, around 1,100 villages in Fiji will be assisted progressively with a total distribution of over 39,000 600 seedlings. The assistance package under this program will include the provision of 36 fruit tree seedlings to every village. The fruit trees include breadfruit, avocado, jackfruit, putu, kavika, and so forth. To date, 82 villages have been covered. To accelerate this initiative, the ministry will run bridge programs where 50 villages will have fruit trees planted in a day, repeating this activity over the next 6 to 8 months to achieve full completion of this initiative. Honorable Speaker, last September during my visit to the Assawas, a total of 240 fruit tree seedlings were distributed in 5 villages of Natawa, Najia, Gunu, Yangeta, and Nambukeru. The fruit tree seedlings include mango, avocado, grafted citrus, and pale guava. At the same time, seed packages of eggplant, watermelon, Chinese cabbage, tomatoes, capsicum, maize, pineapple suckers, and yam cuttings were also supplied to these villages. A similar intervention was carried out at Nassau and in Vendrala villages in Ra province with a total of 80 associate fruit trees seedlings. A major activity was conducted on morning of 10th October where across Fiji, 50 villages saw planting of 50 fruit trees per village. That was a total of 2,500 fruit trees planted within 3 hours across Fiji. Honorable Speaker, as we all know, rice is one of the staple foods in Fiji today. The ministry had developed assistance packages to address rice production in the sugarcane growing areas, non-sugar areas, and community-based rice farming. Recently, a rice consultation program was conducted in Nelanga Ba, where potential rice farmers were advised on best practices by Ministry of Agriculture officials with technical support offered by the Chinese experts in rice research and production. Similar consultations were conducted in Nandi, Rekireki, Reketi, and Vatubongi in Bua. A total of 60,000 of rice seeds has been distributed for planting to farmers free of charge by the ministry, with 4 rice fields and 9 trainings conducted in relevant areas. It is critical that we continue momentum on this front to over time drive towards self-sufficiency of rice in Fiji. Honorable Speaker, before I came to Suva in the last weekend, I myself have planted 3 acres of rice on my own farm. There is a lot of interest that is growing from our farmers in the settlements and our villages, and I can assure that the rice production will increase in the near future. Honorable Speaker, on the climate front, the ministry will continue to improve and better refine our preparedness, response and recovery capacity in our effort to assist farmers recover and become self-reliant for sustainable livelihoods. Similarly, Ministry of Agriculture will continue to promote climate-smart agriculture to ensure we are more determined and resilient in facing any natural disaster that is coming on our way. Honorable Speaker, as the country is approaching the cyclone season, Ministry of Agriculture officers are now equipping themselves with climate-related knowledge and skills by attending climate-related workshops recently held in the West and in Suva. As of last week, our disaster risk management, DRM, consultant and team were conducting disaster awareness programs to our officers in the West and the North. During these awareness sessions, the forum also reviewed the ministry's current DRM standard operating procedures, SOP, that clearly outlines the role of every division at pre-disaster, during disaster, and post-disaster. The awareness program for the Central Division will be held on 16 December 2020 in Suva. Honorable Speaker, the ministry also understands the importance of service delivery to its most important clients, the farmers. As such, from the beginning of November, the ministry commenced a 3-month outreach program called Nongu Agriculture, simply meaning My Agriculture, to accentuate the feeling of ownership, having Talanua sessions with all farmers across Fiji to increase accessibility for farmers and the general public to our services and to further strengthen our service delivery. The aim of this exercise is to work together to accelerate the growth of agriculture sector in Fiji and discussing ways to move agriculture productivity to the next level across Fiji. To date, a total of 86 sessions has been held out of 150 planned individual sessions that will run till end of January 2021. I have personally been involved and present in some of these sessions in the West and North, together with the leadership team of the ministry, as it is important that we lead from the front on such an important program. Honorable Speaker said we must accept that COVID-19 pandemic has greatly impacted our livelihoods, food systems, and economic situation as never experienced before. As previously stated in my past Parliament statements and said in many of my public engagements, this unprecedented crisis is an opportunity to lift our focus and effort in the agriculture sector. Investing in the sector will certainly quicken our recovery efforts and shape our country's future that is deserving by the next generation. Honourable Speaker, this is our plan to contribute to our government's plan for the economic recovery as outlined by His Excellency our President. Honourable Speaker, please allow me to also talk about the significant contribution made by the Ministry of Environment to Fiji and how this government has continued to support every effort taken by the ministry. Honourable Speaker, His Excellency the President noted the third priority as our response to the climate, oceans and biodiversity crisis. Furthermore, Honourable Speaker, Section 40 of the Constitution of the Republic of Fiji states that every person has the right to a clean and healthy environment. This includes the right to have our natural world protected for the benefit for our present and future generations. While bearing this mandate is a huge honor, with it comes a huge responsibility and huge opportunities as well. Honourable Speaker, the 2020-2021 budget represents both an endorsement of the direction taken by the Ministry as well as a requirement to diligently work with our communities. The Ministry of Environment was allocated a total of $5,597,100. Honourable Speaker, in light of the impacts of COVID-19, the government is committed to managing our environment for all our Fijian communities. Honourable Speaker, the Ministry will continue our dedicated enforcement to the Environment Management Act 2005, the Ozone Depleting Substances Act 1998, and the Endangered and the Protected Species Act 2002, and the LITA Act 1998 to ensure Fiji's natural environment is protected. Resources are sustainably utilized, all developments are sustainable, ozone layer protected, and waste is properly managed and pollution controlled. Honourable Speaker, the Ministry of Environment is reviewing Fiji's State of Environment Report and the Natural Resource Inventory as required under Section 23 and 25 of the Environment Management Act 2005. The state of the environment is near completion and will be tabled shortly. Honourable Speaker, the Ministry recognizes the business sector as a key partnership and a primary stakeholder group. The Ministry has taken major strides in ensuring ideas and solutions have permitted up through the active engagement of officers with the business sector. I would like to acknowledge the role played by the Ministry's EIA business roundtables and EIA clinics nationally. These events has continued to raise cognizance on the environment impact assessment and its permitting processes. The Ministry hosted 3 roundtable discussions with business stakeholders and 2 EIA clinics in all the 3 divisions to date this year. Honourable Speaker, since the beginning of this fiscal year, 115 EIA determinations, 55 EIA terms of reference, 26 EIA reports, 9 environmental management plans, 6 construction environmental management plans, and 3 operational environmental management plans were approved, and 19 EIA reports were not approved due to gaps identified during additional information. Honourable Speaker, targeting the processing time taken by the EIA applications, the Ministry has shown agility and innovation through reducing the processing timeline for the EIA screening applications from 14 days to 10 days, EIA processing timeline from 30 days to 20 days, and making decisions on an EIA report from 35 days to 30 days. This is subject to all required information being promptly provided. The Ministry also has created an EIA Green Lane and a Gold Card Service Centre for proponents who have held a clean track record with the Department, adhering to the terms and conditions of permits or approvals issued, and carried out proper environmental management reporting and audit. This Gold Card Service Centre is aimed at fostering a transformational approach to customer engagement with the public sector in Fiji and will improve environmental advocacy and partnerships among stakeholders. Honourable Speaker, the Ministry is working with 50 rural communities across Fiji establishing community waste composting programs. Organic waste, while easily compostable, makes up an average 65% of Fiji's total waste stream and often ends up in landfill and dump sites. This program will help our communities sustain our environments around Fiji for our future generations, save energy, reduce the amount of waste that will need to be sent to our landfill or to ban, and allow products to be used to their fullest extent. Honourable Speaker said the Ministry is lifting our sights through proactive instruments like the anti-litter think tank that was launched to tackle litter and waste management related issues. This includes modelling and creating alternative pathways for the plastic bags and styrofoams. Honourable Speaker said Fijians need to take pride in our country. Littering continues to be a menace and the solution lies within each one of us. Honourable Speaker said the Ministry of Environment has successfully phased out the use of chlorofluorocarbons and the halongs on the refrigeration and the air conditioning sector and in Fiji the fire extinguishers. The Ministry has also phased out carbon, tetrachloride and methyl chloroform as cleaning solvents. The chemicals, Honourable Speaker said, were not only depleting the ozone layer but also were contributing significantly towards climate warming. Fiji officially ratified the Kigali Amendment on the phase down of hydrofluorocarbons on June 16, 2020. The Ministry is currently in the process of reviewing the ODS laws to ensure that the licensing and the permitting system of HFCs are in place before January 2021 as required under the Montreal Protocol to which Fiji is a party to. Honourable Speaker said the Ministry through the Endangered and the Protected Species Act 2002 is in the process of establishing 50 marine and terrestrial biodiversity parks across the country to protect and safeguard the unique biodiversity of our country. The Ministry of Environment, together with the Ministry of Fisheries and Protected Areas Committee, which is established by the National Environmental Council, has identified 15 possible sites for marine protected areas. The national public consultations have concluded and the feedback is being analysed. These sites, Mr. Speaker, say are areas of high biological diversity importance and are unique ecosystems that must be protected. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Once again, Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank His Excellency for his most gracious and wise speech. Thank you.